Hi, Miguel. This is Laura. I will be your therapist moving forward. I do want to go ahead and learn more about your career development, what brought you here, and how we can help you with the skills that you already have and how to move forward with that. So we're going to dive deep into that moving forward to really dive deeper into anything that you really want to work on or that you need more clarification on. And I know one of the biggest things or the main things that we're here for is relating to the development that you've already done, but also what you want to do, and considering the roles that you've played so far. So before I get started, I do want to have you sign this informed consent. As before you fill it out, I do want to just let you know that I am a mandated reporter. So everything that you let me know is confidential. It is going to be recorded. And so I want you to understand that I won't share anything with anyone else. However, if you do share anything about harming yourself, harming someone else, harming a child, or anyone in a vulnerable population, I do have to report that because it is policy and it's by law that I have to do that. So just be mindful of that when we're going through this session, that I do have to report that, and then you just have to sign there by acknowledging that you understand
Okay.
that.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much, Miguel.
Course.
Thank you. And it's really important. That's such just protocol for us. We want to make sure that you're safe, people around you are safe, and we're helping the community as a whole. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, what brought you here? I've read a little bit about you. I've seen amazing things. So tell me, what is it that's going on? What are we looking for?
Yeah, definitely. So again, my name is Miguel. I'm 25 years old. I'm actually from San Diego, California. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, a lot of people, as they, I guess, foresee San Diego, you see the beaches and just a bunch of ocean, right? Like this beach town. I'm not that, so I don't represent that whatsoever. I'm actually from inner city San Diego. So when we think about, San Diego as a whole, I'm from this part where there's a lot of different disparities. There's a lot of different trauma. There's just a lot of no's, right? There's a lot of negativity in my environment. A lot of the times when I think about my life and what I want to do, I don't want to be a product of my environment. So I don't want to be like this replica, or I don't want to be this individual that just states that, okay, well, I'm just going to go with the flow. I kind of want to break that. I think a good example of that is that I'm a first generation college student. And so even back to when I was 18, I really broke that stigma and those barriers that my own community and my family set on me. And so I don't know, I've just always been this go-getter. I'm very self-driven. I like to be inspired on my own, but I think that I just need a little structure, right? And sometimes that criticism will definitely be able to help me, right? So I think at the end of the day, just seeing my weaknesses, seeing what I could really go ahead and work on will definitely help me out.
Awesome. So you sound very motivated. You sound very motivated to learn, to grow within your profession. And I think you're very self-aware as well, which is really amazing to have, because in your future careers, wherever you do want to end up, you want to make sure that you do have that. So tell me a little bit about what careers you've already had that you feel as though you've excelled. Like, what skills did you have there that you feel have really helped you and that you're planning to use in the future?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I'm a people's person. So I love to socialize. I love to, be able to interact and get to know people for who they are. I think my purpose here is to make a difference in any way that I can to impact people. But I think a job that I actually had was a cashier at a supermarket, at a grocery store. And through that, a lot of people just see it as you're just ringing up like these items or groceries for people. But how I saw it, I was able to network, connect, and communicate with different people. Through that, I was able to become a customer service supervisor. And so I managed a team of about 10 to 12 cashiers throughout my shift. Was an amazing opportunity to really be able to learn like the dynamic of the business and, from the organizational aspect, how that does work. But ultimately, what that really helped me to do was to be able to see, okay, I could go ahead and have this foot into management. And I really like that, right? But I think what I'm looking more to is just finding something that could definitely be in that pool of what I'm looking for. And so again, helping people to that ability, and obviously not in a grocery store anymore.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love that you used that setting that you were in to really elaborate on different skills that really are helping you now. So I'm hearing that you want to be in a position that allows you to continue those like management style, like you want to manage a team, you want to do something along those lines, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. I could see myself like being a financial manager, maybe even going into what would be a hospital.
Okay.
And so my undergrad's actually in healthcare administration, but because I've kind of taken this like entrepreneurial route to see kind of like what works for me and what doesn't, I could definitely see myself like maybe like as a practice manager or somewhere in management within those two organizations or industries, I should say.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. So I want to backtrack a little bit because I know at the beginning you were talking about certain barriers that you faced as you were coming up, because I know that just, you know, a little bit about what you've shared. You're 25 years old. You are a first generation student, which does come with a lot of barriers. And so what are other areas that you felt like maybe you had to work a little bit harder, or did you have to work a little bit harder than maybe the person next to you? And then how did you respond in that scenario?
Yeah, definitely. I would say just like, and I know this might sound like wrong, or it might not, maybe to another person's ear, it might not sound right, but just being different. I think really just being different, going back to like my environment and who I am. I mean, I grew up in the hood. There's a lot of different things here that a lot of people don't appreciate. And there's a lot of violence, right? There's a lot of different mischievous activities that do occur. And it's very unfortunate because it does, I think, create a negative impact to the community. And so think about it, like if there's 16, 14, 8-year-olds here, and they're seeing that, they could be easily influenced. And so I do think that has held me back a lot, to be able to really like excel to what I want to do. It's always in my notion, my community. It's always something that I'm thinking about prior to making my next move.
And it's really nice to hear that you want to be someone that influences others, right? It sounds like you want to be someone that other people can see and be motivated. Like you made it out of the hood. You did what you set your mind to, right? You're not a product of your own environment. So what was your influence that you had? What was your motivation throughout those difficult times of trying to figure out what you would be doing in your future?
Yeah, honestly, I would say it's my parents. Like just seeing that, like even with the background, they're from Mexico. So them coming to the States with nothing, literally starting from scratch and developing and building a family here, it is just kind of like mind blowing to me. And so they embedded so much risk, and maybe they didn't have that like ROI, you know, that like return on investment. They didn't see the bigger picture. I think what they did was kind of just chase that dream and kind of see like where they would end up at. But I would definitely say that they're my biggest like motivation up to this point, just because I feel like, wow, like if they were able to do that without an education, like for me, I know that I could go ahead and do this too, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love that. And then in regards to, you know, their story, which I thank you for sharing, what was it that maybe provided you any pressure, if any, from maybe people around you, including mom and dad? Like, what was it that did bring you pressure? Was there any stereotypes that maybe were held onto you? Do you feel any kind of pressure now to meet maybe a role that is just given by society that you don't feel like you need to fill? Is there anything that you feel regarding like maybe like you being a man and trying to do these things? Like, how is that role interpreted at home, or how do you view that now?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I think that in my, like a stereotype that could be like also seen in my culture is like machismo, right? So because you're a man, like you have these muscles, you're supposed to be working in like the workforce. And a lot of my family members, you know, they work in construction. Some other family members, they're doing like handyman duties, so like fixing roofs, putting down tile, like, and me, I'm not that. And so I think that number one, that's the biggest stereotype. As far as like, in my culture, like if you don't do those things, then you're not considered a man. But I'm as a man as that could get, right? Like I got facial hair and the whole shebang. But even with that, I think that another thing that could go through that is obviously vulnerability, right? Like to be vulnerable. Now flipping the coin, because I don't do those tasks, because I don't work in that, I'm vulnerable because I know that what I'm doing is what makes me happy. It's my purpose, it's my passion, but it doesn't take away or discredit to who I am, right? As far as me being a man and in my culture. And so I think that ultimately, I think, you know, that stereotype I'm also trying to break, but it's really hard. I think that it does hold me back a lot because I'm constantly thinking about it. I think, you know, the day I have my children, I don't want them to have that in their notion. I want them to do what they want, but I kind of struggle with that.
Okay, and then you struggle with that because you are viewing it a different way, and you're trying to create your own version of what, you know, a man represents, or what is it that you would struggle with?
I think just second guessing, like the fact that, you know, if my purpose is something that I should be doing. Sometimes I'm like, well, I see all my friends working construction or have these like different jobs. Some work, you know, up north in the oil fields, and you know, they get dirty, right? And so I'm like, well, should I like go into that too, you know? And so it does sometimes bring me some sense of like discredit when I'm trying to really create credibility for myself. So I guess that's what holds me down.
Yeah, because it sounds like you took a very different journey than the people around you, right? It sounds like you may have gone somewhere where maybe a lot of people never imagined that they could go. So with that, you know, what are you doing with your career right now? Like, tell me about your education, your career now, a little bit about that, so I can kind of gauge like where you're at, if like the skills that you have been brought up with are being implemented now.
Yeah, definitely. So I just got my master's in business administration.
Oh, congratulations.
And so, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, just like another milestone that I think that in my culture, or even in my family, like I'm the first to actually go to school, and I'm the first to get my bachelor's. So now I'm kind of setting the bar high because I got my master's. But definitely it's something that, you know, for me, I felt as though I could do more for me. But I'm also having trouble with that because I'm still kind of looking and surveying the field per se, just because I'm kind of like your jack of all trades when it comes to like admin management positions. And so ultimately I want to utilize that degree to be able to get to where I want to get to.
Okay, and give me an example of where you can envision yourself. I know you mentioned a couple earlier, and your current position, how is that getting you towards that?
Yeah, I think it would be mostly like networking, right? So like the connections that I have built thus far. And so if I'm presenting myself and I have these different tools also that I'm displaying, such as, you know, my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, again, it's building more credibility for that industry. Obviously, like, again, going back to the different workforce, like construction, well, maybe if I'm not working on the project and putting down the roof for the tile, I could maybe, I don't know, be the individual that's the contractor, right? Or maybe start my own construction company, you know? So yeah, I think that's the bigger picture for me, for sure.
Yeah. No, and going back to that stereotype that we're really speaking on, it's really important to also analyze that we can always learn those things, right? We can always learn to put tile down, or to try to, you know, fix a light bulb, whatever it is. It's something that we can always learn. And I know you mentioned like your children, that's something that you can maybe experience with them moving forward and learn together. Because right now it seems like your vision is really on impacting your community, really growing and bettering yourself in your career, so that then you can come back to the community, assist your community, and really like be just a representation of what could be for them, you know, because maybe there's kids that are lost, there's children that are lost that need someone like you to come around and be like, hey, you can do it too. So I do find that very, very motivating. And I want to hear a little bit about how you thus far have managed your work and life balance. What have you done to really work on that and make sure that that is, you know, really going good for you, or is it not going good for you?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, sometimes I find myself just being too busy in work.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what a workaholic is, right? So some days I have like 10-hour days. Some days I have just a regular 8. And so I'm really trying to build and maximize on the fact to, you know, really create that work-life balance. So one of the biggest traits that does help me is going to the gym. Like going to the gym just like alleviates my mindset, alleviates also my stress, and kind of just blocks everything out for me as well.
I love that. Is there anything that you would want to see enhance within your work and life balance? Is there anything that maybe you're like, if I could master this, I could get like my work and life balance to just function a lot better?
Yeah. What I would have to tell you is that maybe just like getting away. Maybe like, and by that I mean maybe like a vacation. Doesn't have to be something super expensive, but what if I take a little road trip, right?
Yeah.
To get my mind right. What if I catch a red-eye flight, maybe to Vegas, you know, and spend the night out there? But ultimately, I think that like that's really gonna help me, just like be at a calm, like be at peace, because I don't want to be, like, you know, losing my hair and just like going crazy over certain things that I go through in my work, right? So
yeah, I do want to pick your brain a little. So I am gonna pick your brain a little. I'm gonna go ahead and go over a few things, and you tell me like where you lie on like 1 to 10. 10 being you're great at it, 1 being like it's just something that is you're not good at. Okay, so determining priorities with your work and life balance, where would you rank yourself from a 1 to 10?
I would say a 10.
10? Okay, so do you feel like you're really good at determining like this has a higher priority than this, and really tackling that and like it trickling down to the least priority?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome. And then setting your goals, where do you rank yourself with that, with setting goals for yourself and meeting them?
I would say also like a 9.
9.
A 9. So I like the way I think about my goals is that, you know, it's like a benchmark, something that I have to hit. And so with that, I want to go ahead and not over exceed my goal either. I want to be really realistic, but also hold myself accountable. So I think I would be pretty good at that. Or up to this point, I'm pretty good
9.
at that.
That's really good. If it's a 9, that's amazing. What would it take to get you to a 10?
Yeah, I think just being, again, like the accountability and the responsibility. So if I'm saying I'm going to go ahead and do something, to really back it up and you know, meet that.
Follow through. Yeah. No, I think that's great. Scheduling accurately. Do you feel like, and kind of bouncing off the other one, do you feel like you schedule yourself accurately when you're like, okay, it's going to take me 2 hours to do this or an hour and a half to do this, when you're setting your calendar? Or does your day always end up being 10 hours or 10 plus hours?
Yeah, lately it's been like 10 hours, 10 plus hours. So I would give myself maybe like a 5 or a 6 on that, just because I do find myself like maybe getting too involved into a project and trying to overachieve. So now where I have to go ahead and really dedicate my time and pick and choose what I want to do, it kind of gets a little tough when I'm a little too invested.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and I'm glad that you brought it up yourself, because my next point was establishing boundaries. Like, how well are you with doing that with maybe the individuals that you work with or people around you? Where do you rank yourself with that? Because if you're being too invested, maybe that could be a correlation to not setting clear boundaries. How do you feel with that?
It's interesting that you bring this, because it's really helping me like identify myself too. While I'm gonna explain my answer, but I would say like a 5 as well. Just because I feel like sometimes I come off as a yes man, so I'm always constantly saying yes, like consistently, and I know it's bad, but I don't know, like I like to like just make amends with people and really be at peace with people as well, and let them know that they could count on me. But as you may know, like saying yes all the time isn't the best thing. It's like you're putting more food on your plate. You're biting out more than you could chew. And so I have yet to have that backfire on me, because I'm like always following through and getting it done. But again, it is kind of like a exhaustion that it's reaching out to burnout for me.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you, how does that make you feel when you are constantly like being there for so many people? When does the time for you come?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, up to this point, all I remember or all I know is like just really helping people out. So I kind of put myself last. Like I really don't prioritize me. I think yeah, like when I go to the gym, go get a haircut, like that's probably like the only two times that I put myself first. So
yeah, is that something that you would want to do? Is that something that you want to do in the future, like put yourself first?
yeah,
Or,
yeah, I think so. And I think that it's just like, don't get me wrong, I love myself, you know, and
yeah.
I love my family, but I think that like yeah, spending more time by myself will definitely help me out.
And the biggest thing that I'm even bringing this up is because you've already had a role where you're managing, you're, you know, very invested, ensuring everyone is well, you know, taken care of, everyone's following protocols, all that. So you're aware of the extremities that it will consist for you and the pressure that you have and really trying to work under pressure. So having that work and life balance is going to help you, because right now you're at a level where you're only trying to get higher, and
Yeah.
with getting higher comes more responsibility, comes more pressure, comes, you know. And so I want us to work on these strategies so that they can assist you as you move forward with your work and life balance for the future career that we're going to find for you.
Okay.
So it's just something that I do want you to think about. And also I wanted to talk about how well do you feel that you nurture your family and your relationships right now? Like, how has that been with work and life?
Yeah, and going back to like me not prioritizing myself, I think I prioritize them, right?
You're like focusing on them.
Yeah, so I try to take care of them for sure.
Okay, so I think now is a time to try to take care of you too, right? Let's try to take care of you, because it seems like based on what we talked about, the lowest scores were scheduling accurately and setting boundaries. So those are the things that it seems like what we would need to work on, so we can get you from a 5 to a 10.
For sure.
So that you're like, okay, let's make sure we got this good. So just a few things to think about. I do want to also talk about a career assessment for you. Like I mentioned, you sound like you are very motivated. You're very self-driven. It's really, really great to see. You have a great, you know, cognitive ability to just see what's happening around you and make an educated decision on what should happen based off what you said. You're very mature, and it's a great. So I do want to let you know what theoretical approach we're going to use, and so just so you are aware of what's happening, you know. So we're going to be using the cognitive informational process approach. So we're going to go ahead and do that with you. I'm going to have you do a self-directed search, and so it's really cool. It helps you not only learn about the skills and strategies that you already have, but it also provides you with careers that you could possibly be a part of. So I'm going to have you go ahead and take this assessment, and I want you to tell me how that goes. So let me go ahead and hand this over to you. It's going to be really quick and easy, so I want you to let me know once you're done with it, and we should be good to go. And then I think you might have completed it earlier today before the session.
Oh yeah, I actually did.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and pull these up, and if you don't mind sharing, what were some of the main things that came up for you there?
Yeah, so what the interests, like for my career profile, like the ones that really were out there was creating, helping, persuading was at 100, and then organizing was 95. And so with these 6 interest areas, my top interest to what would be, or my primary interest is I'm a persuader. So it states here that I'm driven to lead, influence, motivate, and direct other people. And I'm interested in making my mark in the world by impacting the perspectives and decisions of others. And I feel powerful and important and want to lead that way.
That's amazing. That's literally what we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm seeing it here. And so did you want to know like what the actual like careers were? Or?
Yeah, I want to know like where you can see yourself career wise. Where are we going to get you going and get you to, you know, get maybe on LinkedIn, get connected and all that. I mean, you mentioned you're really good at networking. It's just a matter of figuring out what career would be best suited for you based off of this assessment. So
yeah, definitely. So, and this is great because it's opening up more pathways. So for the fields, I'm looking at sales, marketing, entrepreneurship, management, public relations, legal, politics, and real estate. And then the areas of study for me would be business administration, marketing or advertising, hospitality, real estate, political science, communications, law, and organizational psychology. Um, and so yeah, like that, this is definitely opening up a lot of doors for me because I didn't even know that I could be a public relations specialist, an attorney, personal financial advisor, buyer, purchasing agent, real estate agent or broker, securities broker, or health services manager. So this definitely gives me a lot to think about for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, even thinking about this too, like going back to your community and where you brought up the stereotypes that people have maybe on your culture or what you represent. Is this something that you know kind of changes that? Like this is something that is going to be just motivating for your community and your culture. Do you feel like that you're making that mark like you want to?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially because it's opening up more doors for my community. Like when they look at first generation Mexican American, you know, individual from the hood to be a financial manager earning $130,000 a year.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty amazing. So
yeah,
not to put the money into play, but I think that if the youth really could see that, they could do it too, right?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And so what I want, because we are going to meet again next week, so I want you to dive deeper into these careers and do a little bit of research to narrow down which one you really want to move forward with, and narrow it down to 3 to 5. And then when we do talk during our next session, we'll go ahead and elaborate more on them together. But right off the top of your head, I do want to know, like, what is drawing your attention from those careers that you saw there? If you can give me like maybe 1 or 2 examples that you're like, okay, I could see myself there.
Yeah, one of the interesting ones is a high school principal. So elementary, middle, or high school principal, overseeing all school operations, including daily activities. That's pretty cool because it goes back to my community.
Yes.
So I think that's like super purposeful.
Can you see yourself in that too, in that role?
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I think I'd have a lot of fun, but also like purpose behind that.
Yeah, and really quick, I'm sorry to cut you off. Even with the young men that would be attending these high schools, and you being, this male as well, for them, how do you feel about that? If this was the role you decided to take?
Oh yeah, definitely inspirational, motivating, and really just like telling them my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that seeing them on a day-to-day basis and getting them in trouble for their grades would be interesting, but also rewarding at the end.
Awesome. So, do you have any career concerns?
At the moment, no. From what I'm looking at, it's pretty.
No, okay.
It's pretty crazy what the doors that you open.
Yes, awesome. So, I'm really excited for this to be a part of your journey. I'm glad to be a part of your journey to really like dive deep. And you already came in with this just energy where you want to learn and you want to grow and you're wanting to give back to your community. So I know this is going to be something that is going to happen very fluid for the both of us as I go and try to find more resources for you to get you into this career. Because I think the main thing is maybe people in your community are viewing you a certain way that you don't represent. This is what you represent. Yeah. You represent change, so it's social change that is bringing the community together and uplifting all of them. So I am going to leave you with a few things. So like I mentioned, really dive deep into those careers that we looked over. Come back next week, come up with your top 3, 5, and we'll go over them.
Okay.
Definitely, if you want to start hopping on LinkedIn and looking over like a few things there, feel free to do that too. And then lastly, I do want you to, in the next week, work on the 2 5s that we got. So scheduling accurately. I know you're still in your career right now. Try to change something in that you feel would better it to get you maybe to an 8. Okay. What's going to get you from a 5 to a 7 or whatever it is, and then establishing boundaries.
Okay.
Try different things, different methods to establish a boundary, and it could be a healthy boundary. It doesn't, doesn't have to be anything negative, anything rude, or anything like that. Just letting them know, like, hey, right now it's not a good time. I'm gonna have to cut this short. Whatever it is that you feel is going to work in a positive manner. And then when we come back, definitely share those with me. We'll go over them, and then we'll talk about ways that you can continue to establish those clear boundaries and schedule accurately.
Okay.
Does that
perfect.
sound good?
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Awesome. Well, it was great connecting with you today, Miguel. I'm so excited. You are, like I mentioned, very, very motivated and ready to get started in this career development process. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you.
I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Oh, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good
Awesome.
one.
Thank you.